Yud Beis. We're on Yud Beis Amud Aleph. 12. Mishnah. Beis Shammai oimrim ein moitziin loas hakotten. So, for example, you can't carry a child on Yontif. This is according to Beis Shammai, because they're going to say only carrying for food purposes is permitted. But if you're going to carry something that's not for food, it's not permitted. The loss of lulav. Therefore, carrying the lulav to shul is not l'tzorach ochel nefesh. Therefore, you're not allowed to carry it. Below it Sefer Torah, l'shus harabbim. Can't carry Sefer Torah. Ubeis Hillel matirim. Beis Hillel has a principle that because it's permitted to carry for food, it's permitted to carry for everything. Tara Tari Kamed Rav Yitzchak bar Avdimi. Hashoiched oilas nadav b'yontif loke. An ola that is a donative korban, so it's not a chiyuv for that day. So you could have brought it the day before, or the day after Yontif. So if you shechted on Yontif, you did a shechita that wasn't for the purpose of oichel nefesh, because an oila is completely burnt. Amar lei, the Amar l'chamani. Who is shita is that? That's Beis Shammai. Dami lo amrina mitoch shehutro itzol l'tzarach hutro nami shelo l'tzarach. Beis Shammai is the one who holds that we don't learn mitoch, this concept of ho'il that you can carry for oichel nefesh, you can carry for other things. Because the Beis Hillel ha'amri mitoch shehutro itzol l'tzarach hutro nami shelo l'tzarach. Beis Hillel is of the opinion that because you can carry for food purposes, you can carry for non-food purposes. And therefore, shechita as well. Because you're permitted to shecht for oichel nefesh, you can shecht even for an ola, which is not going to be for oichel nefesh. Who says they're arguing in this concept of mitoch? Dilma be'eruv otzal Shabbos. Maybe they're arguing in the whole issue of whether you're allowed to carry on Yontif at all. That Beis Shammai holds you need an Eruv and there's prohibition of carrying even beyond Yontif. The only thing is that it's permitted for Oichel Nefesh. And Hillel holds Erev Otzal Shabbos ve'en Erev Otzal Yontif. There is no prohibition at all regarding Yontif. Don't carry something on is Shabbos in beyond the flow. So Maskil Rav Yosef Elamiyat Liflaku Bavonim. Well, why not argue then? The Mishnah didn't talk about carrying something like a stone. That would be a better, because there's no tzorach at all. So if you wanted to show that machlokas, you could have talked about a stone. Their argument is they're talking about carrying for not tzorach, that Beis Shammai holds if it's not tzorach ochel nefesh, you're not allowed to carry. Beis Hillel says you are. Yeah, Rabbi Yochanan served b'mitoch shehutro itzol l'tzorach hutanami shelo l'tzorach. He held the same way that Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel are arguing this issue of whether you follow this principle of mitoch shehutro l'tzorach hutanami shelo l'tzorach. Where do we see that Rav Yochanan says this? The Tayyitawa coming Rav Yochanan, Avashal Gida Nosha B'cholav B'yon Tovachlo. Person cooked the Gida Nosha, which is the sciatic nerve, which you're not allowed to eat. So cooking it on Yontif, you did a bishul shalol l'tzorech. I'm giving my Daf Yomi now. No. Should I call you afterwards? Yeah. I'll call you afterwards. Okay, bye. Now, you also, so you did a bishul of something that you're not allowed to eat. You cooked it with chalav, so it's basar b'chalav. You're not allowed to cook basar b'chalav. V'achlo. So you ate basar b'chalav, which is prohibited. And you also ate the gid anasha, which is prohibited. Loka chamish. Now how's that? Loka mishum mavashal gid. He did a malach of bishul, which is something that's not roy lachila. The loka mishum oichel gid. He ate gid. That's 2. The loika mishum mavashal basar b'chalav. You're not allowed to cook basar b'chalav, and you're allowed to eat basar b'chalav. The loika mishum oichel basar b'chalav. The loika mishum avara. Lighting a fire. Separate from bishul. So Amalei Puktani Livra. Take this brisa outside the base medrash. It's not correct. Avar ubishul ain't a mishnah. That this bishul is even though shalol tzarach, we hold like Beis Hillel that bishul even is not going to be usher. The same thing with lighting a fire. Imtim Shlomo Mishnah Beis Shammai. Maybe you'll tell me that Mishnah is Beis Shammai. I mean, lo amin mitoch shehutro tzal tzarech. Who doesn't hold to the principle that because it was permitted for hoitzah l'tzarech hutrunami shalot chachanami, lo amin mitoch shehutra avar l'tzarech hutrunami shalot l'tzarech. So maybe he has the same thing. He doesn't apply the rule that because you're allowed to light a fire for tzarech, you're allowed to light it for shalot tzarech. The Beis Hillel, kivad amin mitoch shehutra hoitzah l'tzarech hutrunami shalot l'tzarech. Beis Hillel permits, since you're allowed to do it carrying l'tzarech, you're allowed to carry even shalot tzarech. You can burn something even shalot tzarech because you're allowed to burn something even l'tzarech. That's like Beis Hillel. And you're allowed to use fire b'bishul v'hadlok b'yontiv even without oichel nefesh. There are those that are machmir. Not to do it on Yom Tov if you could do it before, or the Ramah, Magen Avraham, and the Shla bring that sheet down. Mishnah. Beis Shammai Yomim ein moilichin chala umatonos lakoin b'Yom Tov. So you can separate chala from a dough, and you can separate the matonos, which is the zroa, the foreleg, the cheeks, the l'chaim, the cave, and the brisket. Every animal, you give those matonos to the kohen. You can't take them to the kohen. It's mutter to be mafreshid, but the hoilacha to the kohen is not. That's part of this gzera that you can't take it to him. Bein shehurma me'emish, whether the matonos were given the day before Yontif, whether they were Horm today. Beis Hillel matirim, Beis Hillel allow you to bring it to the kohen. Armelam Beis Shammai gzeira shava. Chala umatonos, separating chala from a dough and the matonos of an animal is a gift matana l'kohen. Utruma matana l'kohen. Shem olichman satruma. You admit to me, Beis Hillel, that we don't bring the truma to a kohen. Kachem olichan as matonos. Amar lahem Beis Hillel, lo, im amartem betruma she'eno zakai baramosa. You're not allowed to be mafresh truma on yontif, so you're not allowed to take it to him. Tomer matonos zakai baramosa. But the matonos like challah and the matonos of a after you shechted the animal, you're allowed to separate that on yontif. Katalka daika comes out. Shehurmu ma'ayom shenishkatu ma'ayom. We're talking about the shechted of the animal and they separated the matonis. And in case it could be that it was shechted yesterday and the matonis were also separated yesterday. Either way, you could bring it to the kohen. Then who is the author of our Mishnah? Lo Rab Yossi, v'lo Rab Yehuda, l'acheri. Because let's see the other baraisa. The Tanya. Am Rav Yehuda. Lo nechleku Beis Shammai Beis Hillel al matonis shehu me'erev yontif. shemoilichim im matonis truma me'ayom shenishchutu mayom. Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel do not argue on the matonis that were separated erev Yom Tov, that you can send them along to the kohen with the matonis that you did today. What about without the ones that you did yesterday? Could you take them by themselves? Now, our Mishnah certainly didn't hold of that sheet. And Beis Shammai analyzed it. Separating challah and the Yisroel l'chaim, the cave are gifts to the kohen. Utruma matana l'kohen, and truma is a matana. Kashem shem olich mitzat truma, just like you can't bring it to the kohen. Kachem olich is a matanis. Armelam Beis Hillel lo. Imamartem betruma shein zakai baramosa. You're not allowed to separate truma on yontif. Toimim matana shezakai baramosa, and that's Rav Yehuda. So that doesn't fit our Mishnah. Now, that's clearly not our Mishnah, because Beis Shammai says you're not allowed to be moilech. And here Rabbi Yossi is saying they both agree that you can be moilech. And Beis Hillel also didn't agree that you can bring truma. So this clearly is not Rabbi Yossi. They learned just pumfak here, that just like you could be moilech the matonis, you can be moilech the truma. At least you're allowed to separate those, the chal and the matonis, so that's why you can give him. So our Mishnah is not Rabbi Yehuda, not Rabbi Yossi. What's acherim? Which fits our Mishnah. They both agree that you don't send the truma. Which is our Mishnah. Exactly our Mishnah. So the Gemara appropriately points out, Lema acherim hi v'lo Rabbi Yehuda. Looks like it only fits acherim. Amar Rav Miktani shehurmu ma'ayom shenishchutu ma'ayom. Who told you? Like we started off with the Havamina, that we're talking about an animal that you shechted today and you separated today. Shehur muktani. It doesn't say nishkatu, it says hurmu. So ula olam shchitas me'emesh. The shchita was yesterday. The matanos were separated today. And therefore, leim Rabbi Yehuda v'lo acherim. That way our Mishnah could be Rabbi Yehuda. So the Gemara says afilu teima acherim. It could be Rabbi Yehuda, it could also be acherim. And our Mishnah is dealing with the ones that were shechted yesterday. So how is Acherim different from Rabbi Yehuda? Can you take the other things along with it? Rashi says, Rabbi Yehuda matir l'tafel holich shel emesh im shel hayom. He allows you to schlep the stuff from yesterday with the stuff today. That the Acherim hold the Beis Shammai machmir to that extent. Rabbi Yossi. Allah is like Rabbi Yossi. Rav Tobi read Rav Zechem Yavalei Garba the Chama de Truma. He had some kind of jug of wine that was Truma. Also coming to Rav Yosef. Amar lei ma'olam tu l'kohen ha'idna. Can I send it to the kohen today on Yontif? Amar lei ha'chemed Amar Shmuel Allah Rabbi Yossi. They allow you to bring truma to the kohen on Yontif, so it would be permitted. Ushpezichne de Rava bar Rav Chanan avalei is Seraisa de Charvela. The innkeeper of Rava had some mustard, bundles of mustard that wasn't worked yet. The mustard seeds were still in the stalks. Can we sort of separate the seeds from the stalks to eat them on Yontif? Lava Beyond didn't have an answer. Also, Kaveh de Rabba, Armalei, Moilin Melilas, Mufarkin Kidneys Beyontif. You're allowed to roll and to separate kidneys on Yontif. So it's l'chora, the answer was mutter. Somebody separates these little seeds from stalks Erev Shabbos. Now, he can sort of hand it to one hand to another. In that way, the chaff will fly away. You'll be left with the seeds. You cannot use a kli to do boirer, which are special kalim for that. And that's Shabbos. What about Amoil Melilas Merev Yontif? If you do the same act Erev Yontif, he says the same thing. But there, there you can use a kli, but not a sieve. So Me'erev Yontif in, but that's Melilos that you did Erev Yontif, but B'Yontif lo, which implies that you can't be Moila on Yontif. Of course, there's no Raya, Afilu Teve B'Yontif. The only reason he responded that way, I did Tanareshim Erev Shabbos, Tanah Sefer Nami Me'erev Yontif, but he meant Yontif as well. But based on the way you're learning, if these melilos were not ready to be eaten, so there would be no chiyuv truma. But now if you can do it on yontiv, and you prepared for eating, so there's a chiyuv of truma. Now, if you told me you're allowed to eat it, must be you separated truma. How can you separate truma on yontiv? Utnan loim amartem b'truma she'en zakai baramos. So you're not allowed to separate truma. Loikasha harebi harabi Yisrael Rabbi Yehuda. And we'll see a machloikas between Rebbe and Rabbi Yehuda regarding this issue. Okay.